What's up, everybody? It's Krazy K behind this screen, always doing her thing, even when she ain't on her 2 feet. This is over a month and a half we are covering for before and after thoughts. I know we haven't done this in a while. A lot going on with, had a couple of funerals I had to go to. I had my cousin's funeral I had to go to a couple weeks ago, and then I had my grandfather's funeral I had to go this past Friday. So, as I'm staying close to family, mom and aunt, after my grandfather passed in, got to go to my dad's wedding, freestyle with some cousins over my cousin that passed, and still doing my Raw SmackDown predictions and even W Live and NXT and the pay per views like this past SummerSlam, even doing the results, keeping you updated. Shout outs to the commentary, like when our conversations we have through Instagram, and updating my account, things like that, gameplay, and everything that I said I was going to do. Still staying up to social with that, but we haven't done the podcast, which is a month and a half behind now. We done singles, we done double knockout, we done triple threat, we done fatal four way, we done a month, and like this will be a month and a half. But everything you need to know will be involved, everything you want to know will be involved, all the pay per views, coverage like Money in the Bank, Night of Champions, Women's Revolution, and SummerSlam Part 1 and 2, and including Saturday main event. And also we have Lucha Underground as well. We also have a little bit of NXT and AEW. I did some prediction commentaries, all of that, as WWE always crosses paths with each other. ESPN taking up the wrestling and the UFC together, along with the football season starting now. So, as it's all tangled up together, and combining all that, we'll be watching the UFC fights, we'll be commentating predictions on the wrestling, that I'm going to talk about football because I like the NFL football. So, and my team starts tomorrow at 6 o'clock sharp for the preseason, and I will be there watching it. With that being said, got to go to the lake with some cousins, get my mind off things. My other one came from Hawaii, got a piece of the lava from when she went to Hawaii. And little cousin playing with them in the backyard. Just got my nephew, his birthday's coming up, turning 5 now, and he's all about Sonic now, so I had to get him Sonic stuff. I know he'll be 3 now. Sorry, he's not 5, he'll be 3 now. My other nephew's 5. And I had some things, and like I said, Dad's wedding, and freestyle my cousins at karaoke, and got to go to the lake and watch some movies with my, at the Hog Wild, best pork place ever besides Famous Dave's. And been working, still keeping the Raw SmackDown predictions for you guys, still keeping the updates, the social accounts updated for y'all, still doing my shout outs, still involved in wrestling, still involved in even NXT and AEW outside of Raw SmackDown wrestling, including pay-per-views, still keeping everything you need to know on a daily basis as well involved in that. So, with that being said, everything is still up to date and everything is still on track. It's just the podcast. That's why it has got pushed behind, but that's what I've been up to. So, with that being said, we're going to cover all the pay-per-views, like I said. You're used to the singles, you're used to the doubles, you're used to the triple threat and the fatal four-way, you're used to even a month and a half, so it should be nothing new. Combining a month and a half pay-per-views into this one video, a podcast, so a month and a half just did the updations for you, just did the need and want to knows for you, adding the pay-per-views all involved into this one video to catch up on before and after thoughts with Krazy K. So, welcome in the ladies, the gentlemen, the world, universe, animals and creatures, and all the above to before and after thoughts with Krazy K. With that being said, if you haven't already, be sure to watch, be sure to like, be sure to get up here on this social media accounts. I'm going to show you exactly what they are so you guys can watch them. You can like it. You guys can go ahead and, memorize it. write it down, videotape it to even have it in a video, take a picture of it, take a picture that lasts longer, and remember that visual, write it down, take a video, get a little hard, a little look at it. Follow you guys to subscribe on YouTube to see my other videos, like before and after thoughts, which is what this is. You guys can follow me on TikTok because I have freestyles on there. You guys can follow me on Instagram to be involved. Whether you just like the comment or comment to be involved for a shout out in the conversation in my videos. And you guys can, I don't know why, for some reason my Snapchat didn't get on there because I'm very active on my Snapchat as well. So I'm going to go to another video and show you that. I don't know how it didn't get on there for some reason. It got booted out. So you guys can go right there, add me on that Snapchat as well. So take a picture of it, write it down, get it visualized, get it on your video, whatever it is you need to do. That is where you subscribe on YouTube. That is where you follow on Instagram. That is where you follow on TikTok and add me on Snapchat. And you can go right here on KZK page for new subscribers to check out Raw, SmackDown, W Live NXT, AEW, pay-per-views predictions, including this past Monday Night Raw and tonight's Friday Night SmackDown. That will be added onto that Korean Kids K page. Predictions for new subscribers, and as far as returning subscribers, then you guys can check out Korean Kids K page, or story, which I try to involve a little bit of everything through there. That would be Korean Kids K story that you guys can check out through here, right there. For the rest of sometimes I do different parts of the predictions, and sometimes I show my face during the predictions. Sometimes I just do a voice during the predictions, so you can either see the face or you can hear the voice. Either way, it's all predictions on the page and story for new and returning subscribers. So subscribe on YouTube to check that out on the page and story. Do those playlists, do that social account to be involved in that. I already told you where I'm active. Add me on that Snapchat to be friends or just talk or whatever, There's also other interviews outside of the personal life, like I was talking about on TikTok, that I have freestyle videos and music videos and album playlists and things like that. And these are some of my album playlists you guys can check out. And there's snippets, as you guys can see right there. And there's also freestyles and some songs you guys can watch or listen to through TikTok or through YouTube as well. And some interviews outside the personal life, rapping shows with you guys. You guys talked about freestyle with my cousin's karaoke, so you guys might be involved in freestyle, weddings and things like that. Those photos would be like through Instagram. You guys can follow me on there if you guys want to see that. Also updations through there. Why this is a month and a half behind, but it's all good because it's getting caught up. Then you would know right there through Instagram as well. And this is going to be a / WWE Comics with Korean KZK covering all the Monday Night Raw, a little bit of SmackDown, W Live NXT, along with the pay-per-views as well. You can check out that playlist with the other WWE Comics with Korean KZK. Catch it up on the month and a half Raw. It's mainly about Raw, but I do add SmackDown and W Live NXT and AEW as well. And then you guys can check out what this other / is. And there's the reactions of Cream and Cake. You can check out the other commentary / reaction, which is what this is over Monday Night Raw over the month and a half, along with before and after thoughts with Cream and Cake for a month and a half. So those are the playlists right there and the social accounts. With that being said, we can jump right into it and get started. So with that being said, jumping into the game right now. So we had this Money in the Bank going on. Naomi showing up and showing out, showing why every single woman that has become Miss Money in the Bank has successfully become a WWE champion. All 8 now Naomi joining that playlist with 9. We got Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Axa, Tiffany Stratton, Io Sky, and Nikki H. Cross, Bailey, and now Naomi joining that playlist and that crew. High flying of Io Sky. Bailey, one of the horsewomen. Naomi, who's been there for 16 years building up since the NXT tryouts. All the stupid challenges she had to do with the rapping, with the guessing the abs, with the pushing Hornswoggle on a wheelbarrow, with the total divas, and became, giving her inside story outside of it, outside of magazines, of course, with the Bella Twins, taking it to their show and front cover, you know, with the Revolution, and even before the Revolution when Stephanie McMahon came in there, just getting shoved away. Naomi has been in there for what, 16 years? I believe he said it, 16 years. That's what Big E said the other day, and I was like, yeah, I know she's been there for a long time because I remember when she had to do those NXT tryouts, and it wasn't a real wrestling for a woman. She was being told not to throw a punch, have a little scratching, pulling hair, cat fight, so that way you had a woman on there, but wasn't really a match like a Money in the Bank ladder match with a woman. You would have never saw that match in that extreme with the woman being involved. There's something kitty cat fight, and then now getting to come out of her show and have a wrestling match instead of scratching to the eyes. Now getting to actually, you're 2-time SmackDown champion while these other women are climbing up the mountain and moving beside you. New faces come around. They show up and they're going to take your spot if you don't. And I'm glad that she finally get to speak her mind because closed mouth don't get fed. Went to the TNA Knockout Champion, showing that she can do it without you, with or without you. And whether people love it or not, Miss Money in the Bank making history along with the woman that built the women's revolution, including her and Team BA. Davey and Stephanie brought them into the game. She was a part of that revolution, and the fact that she got to go to women's revolution and become world champion, something that she helped build, that had to feel good for her. Not only is she a world champion against two of the best like Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, she even admitted it on the post show. Rhea Ripley, Mommy's always on top, former world champion, has done it all. I'm a big Rhea Ripley fan. Io Sky ran the tag teams division with Damage Control and also a former Raw Women's Champion, as well as tag team champion's been in Naomi's corner and now world champion. That's something all these women have in counter with and have the same mindset because they have a lot of the same background. Like Naomi doing the stupid challenges, pushing Hornswoggle while a ring when she's supposed to be in a wrestling ring to build tryouts for people like Io and Rhea to call themselves a former NXT champion. For people to call them a superstar and not a diva, which, total divas Naomi was on. For the women's revolution that y'all just got done wrestling, and why women, they deserve that main event, why they took it up, why they made a whole pay-per-view for all women wrestling for that specific reason. Getting the respect for a woman as far as you're getting a wrestling match instead of your entries being longer than your match because they just want to put a woman on there so that way everyone can say, well, you got to see a woman, but really not treating them with the same amount of respect because their entrance is longer than their match. And Naomi was a part of that. Talk about the 3-second count. So she knows what that feels like. Going to a whole another company to build herself, to find herself, to let people know I'm not going to sit here and let you push me down anymore. Speaking her mind, and so bad that the company wanted her back, showing her you can speak your mind, you can be yourself. You don't have to let somebody else tell you what you can and can't say, what you can and can't be. And still, here in the company, 16 years later, Biggie Langston knows that as well. Naomi's still riding. Naomi's still here. And now Naomi gets to call herself a former Miss Money in the Bank who made like I said, history for all the women, all successful Miss Money in the Bank and champions, and now getting called a superstar instead of a diva, now get a real championship belt instead of a butterfly title. She was all a part of that. She helped build that. Now getting matches just as much as the men, and like people are interested in it and giving it the same respect as much as they're. In fact, sometimes they get more excited about the women match than they do a men's match. So it's showing you, equality is very important there, because you can put them on the show, but doesn't mean you're giving them the same respect. Telling them not to punch, and that's why we have those stupid cat fights, and now they actually get a fist fight. Trying to act like they're unprofessional for throwing down, but yet you let the men do it all the time. Now they get to do the same thing. Trying to act like, oh, well, you're going to get hurt. It doesn't matter if you have a pair underneath the belt or a pair on the chest. Anybody can get hurt. Anybody can get injured. And it's been proven that even the men have said, hey, show the women some respect. So, and I like that Naomi is a part of that, and that's where all this heel turn to Naomi. And to me, it's really not even a heel turn. It's just all this stuff bottled up, and Naomi for years now finally coming out. Naomi finally gets to speak her mind like she's been wanting to do, and people are listening to her speak her mind. Closed mouth don't get fed. And people are seeing the dominance that she is and that she has become, getting stronger and better every day. And now she's women's world champion. So shout out and tunes to Naomi. I'm glad that Naomi's our women's world champion. I like that she's here on Monday Night Raw. It's you outside of, like, she would have stayed on SmackDown. She would have got caught up in the Jade and Bianca story and kind of shoved away. With her being on Monday Night Raw and her being the champion, she's on top right now. She is the storyline right now. So that's good to see her do that. And then Rhea and Io, they're in it, but like Naomi is the one they're interviewing because she's the champ. Naomi is the one they're asking questions, having all these targets like Stephanie and Victoria on her back because she's champion. Because she's a target now. And with her coming to Monday Night Raw, that gave her a fresh start and new faces, new competitors, new matches, and a new brand. So now we get to see Naomi on Monday Night Raw, getting the people who now get to see her with different wrestling. Like I said, you got Dominic one over there, like Io and Rhea. You got Natalia over there. You got Nikki Bella over there. You got our Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch over there. You got a lot of things going on. Our Women's World Champion, Naomi's getting all the interviews, letting everybody know what she's thinking, not letting anybody shove her down anymore, not letting anybody keep her quiet. And people are listening to her. And people are even chanting her because they agree with her. And with her being champion, that's just icing on the cake. So I love the fact that Naomi gets to stand up for herself and be a women's world champion officially now. So I'm proud of Naomi. As somebody as me who's watched Naomi through the whole careers, and people like me have got interested in women's wrestling because of people like Naomi actually having a wrestling fight and not, something stupid, just to say, hey, she's on there. And to the point to where I'm like, I don't have to beg to see one woman because you're going to see a few matches or a few segments or brawls with the women. It's not just going to be one person. Like, it's equality now, and Naomi got to build that, and that's very strong for Naomi to hold that on her back, go through hell and back, and then come out on top because she has been through it. She knows what it feels like. So I like Naomi being women's world champion and standing up for all women right there. And not only stand up for that, but she also gets to speak her mind and stand up for herself, letting nobody push her around anymore. Everybody's listening. No one's going to shame her. And if they do, they're going to hear what she has to say. And they're going to see she deserves to be a women's world champion, that it wasn't just a fluke. So, way to go for Naomi. And Io and Rhea, top woman of Raw for a reason with that Women's Revolution match. They showed why Stephanie McMahon has made the Women's Revolution, why this past Women's Revolution was the best Women's Revolution out of all, this was the 8th one they did. Out of all these 8 years, that was the best Women's Revolution ever. And it's just going to get better and better. So, kudos to them. Shout out to them. So, with that being said, so Flip it over like Becky Lynch is our Intercontinental Champion. Bailey being the horsewoman that built NXT from the ground up, reminding everybody who was there for us before we, like people like Rhea and Io that came from NXT, that she built it. Charlotte Flair getting to change now, truly getting to be herself to where people are actually saying, chanting for Charlotte instead of booing her. And now tag team women's champion, which we would have never saw her be a tag team champion. It was always a singles champion. She gets to open up a little bit, come out of her shell a little bit. And Alexa Bliss as half of our tag team champion. That's just icing on the cake to see that over on the SmackDown brand. So I'm glad that we get to see Charlotte come out, talk about women's revolution, talk about building NXT. How about Charlotte, who helped build the NXT as well, and now getting to come out of her shell and be tag team women's champion, realize, hey, you know, it's okay to have a little help. It doesn't always have to be you all the time. And you come out of your shell and to the point to where people actually like you and they want to see you. They're actually chanting for you now. So Charlotte's still changing the game for herself. Let alone Alexa Bliss is the other half of our tag team champion. I mean, to me, they remind me of like two sisters, like going back and forth. Like, it's funny, it's enjoyable, and then when they get in that ring, they show, all right, now it's time to be tag team champions. Now it's time to be dominant. Show why we deserve these. So, a lot of competition on the SmackDown brand for the women, and actually on Raw because we only got one set of tag team champions for the women's division. So, there you go for Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. And I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley and Naomi for the World Championship belt, since that was the last person that she pinned. And of course the trunks, and it was illegal. But we got Stephanie McCarroll right now and Naomi for the World Championship belt. She's, won the Battle Royal to earn that. But I think then it'll go down to like a no disqualification match between her and Rhea for the World Championship belt. That will be a banger match with the tensions that Naomi has, not letting anybody push her around, with how vicious Rhea gets, especially when she gets mad. That's gonna be a banger. You want to talk about Sheamus and Rusev, banger after banger after match after bullfight after them knowing each other as friendships, as tag team, being former champions, being former partners, and knowing each other well, and then have all these banger matches on Raw between Rusev and Sheamus. How about Rhea and Naomi? They're gonna have a banger no disqualification match for that World Championship. Watch once Stephanie McCarroll is done with the Battle Royal. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be a one of a kind match to watch on Raw. Our Intercontinental Champion, talk about one of a kind, talk about banger, talk about the respect and the fire of the woman. How about our fire red hair, the Irish lash kicker, the man who always holds it down at all costs, is our Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch. No matter what anybody says, it thanks number one book, being a good mother, being a good wife, and she's being home with her family, and she's still giving what people like me, a fan, want to see, and her as the Intercontinental Champion, making it relevant because she is the GOAT of the women's division. Even bringing out a Hall of Famer like Nikki Bella into the Intercontinental Championship belt, standing her grounds with that little jab right to the face of Monday Night Raw. I'm all for Becky Lynch. I'm glad that Becky Lynch gets to show that fire a little bit, because she is also somebody who's been doing all this work but getting shoved down and getting packed away, and not going to let that happen again. So I agree with everything that Becky Lynch is saying and doing, because she was doing all that hard work when we was all looking at Charlotte and Sasha Banks. She was helping building up when it was all about Charlotte and Sasha Banks. She was helping do these things, be a clown for you guys that you thought was so funny, because they didn't want to give her a real match, being shoved away for the next pretty face when she's doing just as amount as the work as the next person is. So Becky Lynch being an Intercontinental Champion, standing up for herself like Naomi's doing, is well deserved. See, you got to look at it from both ways. You can't just look at her as a heel turn, because Becky Lynch knows what it feels like to be underrated and be shoved down and be degraded. That's why she helped people like Lars, so that didn't happen to her. And she knows what it feels like when these faces come around, these new faces, everyone gets attached to them, that she's not going to be forgotten. That she's been here and she's done it, and she's the reason why Lara Bakira exists, because she built NXT for her to exist. So, With that, and then as far as Bailey wanting her revenge, how many championships and opportunities did with damage control did Bailey screw out of Becky Lynch, and then Becky Lynch is just giving her a taste of her own medicine. And then Lyra Kara comes along. You got to understand, Becky built that NXT. She doesn't want to get shoved away, and it will happen if she doesn't stand something or stand up for herself now. That will happen, and people will start to forget about her or not appreciate the work that she's done. So I like that Becky Lynch is our Intercontinental Champion and standing up for herself, as well as our World Champion Naomi. That's why you got to look at it from, if you're a real wrestling fan, you got to look at it from both sides. She deserves to be World Champion for Naomi, standing up for herself, and our Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch, also not letting anybody forget who she is. And now she's bringing the Hall of Famer Nikki Bella into a banger match, and Rhea Ripley is going to be in a banger match with Naomi. Let alone Stephanie Kara the Battle Royal. Talk about rookies and new faces coming over to the Raw brand. So with that being said, the Women's Revolution pay-per-view, definitely the best one. These Monday Night Raws, ready for the banger. SmackDown, coming out of your shell. These W Live, NXT, AEW, you name it. You got Nia Jax on the NXT, just dominating everybody in sight. You got AEW, JC was the one that workout in. Well, she's not on AEW, she's on NXT, but she was doing a Celtic Warrior workout with Sheamus. You got the AEW, Mercedes Moné. Another person that went to another brand and now has got all the gold and all the love and respect that she deserves. Talk about the horsewoman. She is one of those horsemen that build it up and getting all the props and all the praise she deserves on the AEW brand. So, talk about the AEW, talk about NXT, there you go. And Raw and SmackDown, that's just icing on the cake. Make sure you guys watch, like, follow, and subscribe on Instagram, YouTube, add me on the Snapchat, the social media. I had to take pictures up a couple of times and check out on this playlist is because the predictions and commentaries on SmackDown will be available. This podcast and commentaries will be available. Commentary in the podcast playlist. I'll show you one more time. With that being said, Money in the Bank, like I said, we talked about that as well. Naomi's our Money in the Bank. Seth freaking Rollins called it as Mr. Money in the Bank, and now our World Heavyweight Champion, as I said, who's been the man. Like, you can say a lot of things about him, talk about the Shield, talk about the Authority, him as a champion, Universal Champion. He has, with a broken back, carried that World Championship belt and more defenses than anybody else has on 100% level. So he is the best World Champion. And that's why he's our World Champion now. He is the best Megamind. He's the best mastermind as well, because he can get in your head and under your skin and make you mad, but at the same time he's spitting nothing but truth and facts, and that's why it hurts so bad, because the truth hurts. That is one thing that Seth Rollins is not, a liar. When Seth Rollins speaks on the microphone, he does what he says, like when he broke up the Shield, like when he became champion, like when he slayed the Beast, became Universal Champion, like when he slayed at Triple H on Triple H at WrestleMania, like he said he was going to do. Like he took everything from Roman Reigns that was doing on SmackDown as the dominator, as the alpha man. He's doing all that now on Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins. And he's a world champion, like I said he was going to do. So that's why he's a mastermind, because he can get on your skin and make you mad, but at the same time he's speaking truth and facts. So world champion, best world champion, well deserved for Seth Rollins, because he has been through hell and back with broken bodies and limbs, literally defending it for the company. He deserves to be world champion, and he's definitely a mastermind. This Final Destination, which I've been calling the team, is with Bryson Reed and Braun Baker definitely taking over Monday Night Raw. That's why we still barking for Braun. That's why we still, they probably want Roman sneakers after the Bryson Reed, Simone sneaking thief, whatever he's calling himself. Seth freaking Rollins, world champion, best mastermind in the game. So with that being said, talk about that for your Money in the Bank. Talk about that for a Women's Revolution. Let alone Raw and SmackDown, Saturday main event, AEW, NXT, all that stuff. And talk about Night Champions, it just gets better and better from there. Yeehaw main event, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. The Bloodline, I think, is still the best team to dominate in the WWE. So, with that being said, and also the women showed why they deserve. You got 2 nights, 2 parts. Women deserve a main event at SummerSlam just like the men. Rhea, Naomi, and Io showed that. Coming out of the show as tag team champion Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, that was cool to see that of Charlotte to finally share it with someone else and show you, hey, it can be about someone else and people still love you and respect you. And for the first time, they're chanting her name, so that's got to feel good for her to come out of her shell. Um, you know, and also same with WrestleMania. Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch, I think that was the best match between her and Lara even before even before Bayley came out. So it shows you why women deserve a main event at WrestleMania, just like the men deserve a main event. The second part, what happened with CM Punk, our world champion Seth freaking Rollins, he is not a liar. CM Punk knows what that feels like as far as mind games and the physicality that comes with it. I told you, John Cena, hustle, loyalty, respect, never give up. He's the greatest of all time, the GOAT, 16-time champ. Going to change because that's who we know John Cena is. He is the hero. He is the man we say, let's go Cena. Cena sucks because he's the hero. He can make you come out of your seats just to sound his music with or without a championship belt. Definitely love and respect John Cena. As he's giving that love and respect, wearing your merchandise because he knows I'm wearing your merchandise because I care about you. I'm listening to you, even when he tried the heel turn, because he knows without the W Universe it wouldn't be possible. So it's good to see him be himself before he retires on his final days. And with that being said, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, new Superman as champion to hold the company down, proving why he is that man to do that, as I said. And Brock Lesnar, the rumors are true. Wasn't sure what was happening there, but it's official that Brock Lesnar and John Cena, we got another Brock and Cena. One of the best arrivals. I think him and Randy Orton are the best arrivals ever. But Brock Lesnar definitely popped everybody out of their seats for a banger. Talk about out of your seat match for that. So with that being said, TLC, this is why I love tag team matches. You saw that tag team tables, ladders, and chair extreme match with the White Six being tag team, and even getting a women triple threat tag team match as well. And that's why I love tag teams. That's why anything is possible. So that covers Money in the Bank. That covers Night Champions. I think even Crown Jewel. That covers Saturday Main Event. That covers SummerSlam. Talk about the Lucha Underground as well. Rey Mysterio still the King Lucha. That covers these past Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, even WWE Live, NXT, AEW, and Super Showdown. That covers my opinions, my thoughts, the visuals, and everything you need to know, want to know, and more. And that covers everything, the social accounts you guys can get on. I'm going to show you one more time here where you guys can get on before we end this video. So you guys can go ahead and check on Cream KZK's page playlist, which is right here. Check out Cream KZK page playlist to check out Raw, SmackDown, WWE Live, NXT, AEW, SummerSlam, and all the other pay-per-views we mentioned as well. You can check out, there's Money in the Bank, there's Night of Champions, there's Crown Jewel, there's Saturday Main Event, there's Raw, there's SmackDown, and Women's Revolution and SummerSlam. All the predictions for new subscribers on the page, and also for returning subscribers, there's Screen KK somewhere in here. Story playlist, I believe it's that one as well. And you guys can watch, you guys can like. Thank you guys for watching this one and tuning in. Be sure to like and comment and follow and subscribe as well. Check out those pages and story because the predictions are on there with Korean KZK. Also check out the WWE Comics with Korean KZK, which is Raw and SmackDown is also available, and so is the pay-per-views like SummerSlam, Women's Revolution, Night Champions. The results is on WWE Comics with Korean KZK, where you guys can just check out the pictures that I made of comics. You can also check out the videos. You guys can check out commentary / reaction, which is what this was, covering over Monday Night Raw, including SmackDown, WWE Live, NXT, and AEW, and pay-per-views. It's available on the playlist. You guys can check out the rest on there. You guys can also check out before and after thoughts, which is also what this was, covering over a month and a half. Will be available on that playlist right here, right now, as we speak. And with that being said, there's your page for the predictions for new subscribers, your store prediction for returning subscriber. There's your W Comics for the pay-per-view Raw and SmackDown results, And there is the other podcast. I'm on this before and after podcast and commentary slash reaction from Korean KZK. There's a comics because I do that, add it to the video and things like that as well. And you guys can take a picture or videotape or write it down or memorize. Subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss another podcast. Check out those playlists so you don't miss my commentary slash reaction. Go on TikTok if you're interested in some, not only predictions to the YouTube or the results for wrestling to YouTube. You can check out freestyles and fun videos on TikTok and Instagram. You can check out updates and get shout outs whether you like or comment on a photo or a video or a conversation. And you can add me on Snapchat because I'm active there if you want to have a conversation or anything as well. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe, and you chat me on the Snapchat. With that being said, this is the end of Before and After Thought podcast and commentary slash reaction with Korean KZK, covering all the pay-per-views, including these past Raw and SmackDown, and even some additional to make up for it over the month and a half. With that being said, Korean KZK out. Peace.